Netflix is releasing The Woman in the Window, the latest twisted mystery thriller. And I have Vox culture writer Constance Grady here to talk to me all about it. How are you?
Hi, I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. I'm very excited. For anyone who has not read the book, isn't familiar with the story, what is The Woman in the Window about?
So, The Woman in the Window tells the story of this woman named Anna. She's recovering from some trauma. We don't really know much about it as the book opens, but it's left her agoraphobic and also alcoholic. And she's kind of gotten obsessed with watching her neighbors across the way who she can see through her windows. And one day, she thinks she sees the wife in this family, the family of neighbors, get stabbed with a letter opener. But she calls the cops and they tell her that the wife is fine. And then she meets the wife, and it's totally different from this woman she's been watching all the time through the window. And she has to figure out what's real, what's not, and how much she can trust her own perceptions.
Absolutely. I struggled a lot of this book with like, is she a reliable narrator or unreliable, which I'm interested to see how they take into the movie. Now, The Woman in the Window was supposed to originally be released in theaters in the fall of 2019. How did it wind up here on Netflix in May of 2021?
Yeah, this is truly just the most cursed movie. It's quite a saga. So the first delay comes summer of 2019. There are some reports that it's testing badly with audiences. The audiences are finding it confusing, possibly because of that unreliable narrator issue, who can say. So they push it back and do some reshoots. They test the new version, funnily enough, gets exactly the same reaction from audiences. They think it's weird, they think it's confusing. Disney decides basically, you know what, we're just going to go ahead and put it out. We'll see how it goes. So they set a release date of May 2020. It's supposed to be the final picture from Fox 2000, because Disney has just acquired Fox and they're about to shutter this particular branch. And of course, we all know what happened in 2020 and why not many movies opened in theaters that year. And in August, Netflix acquires it and they announced their release date of May 14th, 2021. And now here we are.
It's so crazy. Now, The Woman in the Window, it started out as a book, like I talked about, by AJ Finn, which is the alias of the writer Dan Mallory. How did Mallory's own past become like something out of this book?
Oh man, this is like my favorite part of this story. So Woman in the Window came out as a book in 2018. It was a pretty decent success. Dan Mallory is a thriller editor in the industry. He has a lot of connections. He is actually publishing the book in the same imprint where he works as an editor, and they're putting a lot of muscle behind it. It's a pretty decently sized hit. He's writing under this pen name, AJ Finn, sort of to suggest that this woman-led thriller has maybe been written by a woman. It's like a reverse J.K. Rowling situation.
That's what I thought. I thought that it had been written by a woman.
So then in 2019, this big expose comes out in the New Yorker by a reporter named Ian Parker, which completely changes the narrative about Dan Mallory and The Woman in the Window. According to this expose, Dan Mallory's a serial liar and con artist who basically scammed his way to all his success in publishing. Parker uncovers him repeatedly claiming that his mother is dead, like he wrote his college admissions essay about that. He's written essays in prestigious literary journals about that. She is still alive. They're not estranged or anything. Like, it's not a metaphorical death. She's fine. He repeatedly claimed to have a double doctorate in psychology and in English literature from Oxford. He does not have any PhD. He did start a master's program at Oxford. He dropped out claiming that he had brain cancer. He has never had brain cancer. He scams his way into a pretty prestigious post in publishing by, at one point when he switches from company to company, he claims that he was a full editor somewhere when in fact he was an editorial assistant, so like the secretary to the editor. He appears to fake a bunch of emails to his colleagues from his brother Jake about all the like cool things he's doing in the cancer ward, and then he eventually tells them Jake is died by suicide. Jake is also still alive.
Oh my gosh.
There's so many wild details like that.
Can you talk about what are some of the other like hallmarks of this woman-led thriller genre that The Woman in the Window is now a part of?
Yeah, definitely. So one of the big things in the woman-led thriller is a lot of times the woman is an unreliable narrator, like Anna. You don't know whether she's telling you the truth or not. Sometimes she doesn't know whether she's telling herself the truth or not. She can't always really trust her own perceptions. She has to sort of stand as a mystery to herself.
Absolutely. I would say a main theme in a lot of these books is that the woman is gaslit into feeling like she's crazy when in turn she really isn't.
So one of the big stories of the past decade has been been Me Too, right? It's been this idea that we're rethinking the way that we talk about women in our culture and the way we depict them and what they're allowed to do. So I think the woman-led thriller is a really good place to put all of our confusions and all of our anger about this transition into. We can just project it all into this safe space. And it's also a really good place for women to put their anger about all of the things they have to go through.
You know, The Woman in the Window is just like the latest in this long line of thrillers to be adapted for the screen. And since we have so many examples of this type of genre in the last few years, I thought we'd pull out some of them and talk about the surprising twists and turns and give it a thrill or a nil, like if it was good or bad. So let's start with Gone Girl. Did you feel thrill or nil?
Ooh, thrilled. You know, Gone Girl is the original and you can't beat it. You just can't. It's so good.
For sure. I remember where I was when I was reading Gone Girl. What about The Undoing?
I only saw the HBO series, and I have to say, for me, a nil. But I did like all of Nicole Kidman's beautiful things.
Oh, yes, of course. Oh my gosh, the robes and the long walks. I would say nil. There was so much suspense building like there would be a thrill, and then there was not. What about Big Little Lies?
First season thrill. But, you know, some severe diminishing returns on that one. I think once they leave behind the book, there's just a limit to what they're going to do.
Completely agree. What about Little Fires Everywhere?
I would say book thrill, TV series nil for me.
Exactly. A good one. The Girl on the Train.
Ooh, okay. For me, I would say nil, but I know that's a big one for a lot of people. I feel like that was the first one where we were like, okay, so this isn't just Gone Girl. This is like its own genre now. It was the one that took it over the line into generic.
Exactly. What about Sharp Objects?
Well, you know, Gillian Flynn can kind of do no wrong for me. I'm going to give that a thrill.
Yeah, absolutely a thrill. That twist, that messed me up for a while. I did not see that coming. And then, this one, A Simple Favor.
Like 5 thrills in a row. It's so good.
Really?
I love A Simple Favor.
Oh, this is where we're different. I thought it was just it was too much. I couldn't keep up with what was happening.
That's what I loved about it. You know, it's so over the top. I think the thing that encapsulates that movie is early on, Blake Lively's character, she's wearing what looks like a lady's tuxedo. She takes off the jacket and reveals that what appeared to be a tuxedo shirt is in fact a dickie. And it's just like this absurd misdirection that has no point. It's just there to be delightful and campy. And I think that's the whole movie.
Constance, thank you so much. We will have to wait and see how thrilling or nilling The Woman in the Window adaptation is. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.